Actually,
So
one of your articles on your site that actually influenced my opinion was the Eostre and Ishtar one. Now, I had grown up with the Eostre story, and I'd never
yeah,
heard the Ishtar one until recently online. And I used to
yeah.
correct people about the Ishtar and pointed them towards the Eostre. And then I read your article on it, and went through it, and I went, "Ah, fuck." So I I was half right.
Ah, well, in that case, mate, it had the desired effect. Yeah,
Yeah.
just so people understand what we're talking about. I mean, it's a pretty common thing. In fact, every year around about Easter, you see people, many of them atheists, saying Easter was stolen from paganism by Christianity. It was a pagan festival. There was this goddess, and in some versions say it was Ishtar. Other versions say it was the Germanic Old English goddess Eostre, and it was her festival, and she had bunnies and eggs as symbols of her fertility. She was a sex goddess and all that sort of stuff. And there's absolutely no basis for any of that, except that the name of the festival in English, Easter, comes from the name of that goddess. It comes from Eostre. That's all we know. So any of this stuff that you read about how she had bunnies and eggs as her symbols, total crap. No evidence for that whatsoever.
Mm.
And in that article, I go through where the bunnies and the eggs come from, and it's actually Christian stuff. Eggs were not allowed to be eaten during Lent, and then you get Easter, you got all these eggs. What are you going to fucking do? You're going to eat the eggs. So that's where that comes from. And the bunnies were originally hares, and hares come out around about the end of Lent, so come around about Easter, and you start seeing them in the fields, sort of mating and boxing each other and so on. So hares became associated with Easter. Got nothing to do with any ancient goddesses. Certainly not any ancient, Sumerian goddesses. How the hell that would have some kind of connection to Europe? I have no idea. But it's a classic example of it's a cool sounding story and it makes Christianity look bad, so I'm just going to repeat it.
Hmm.
And this is the problem that I have. A lot of this stuff is just stuff that people repeat without checking. The same with the Great Library of Alexandria. The same with a lot of the myths about Copernicus not publishing his book on heliocentrism because he was frightened that he was going to be burned by the Inquisition. Total bullshit. Good stories, and this is why in the videos that I'm doing, I start each video with "Once upon a time," and I tell the story with sort of fairy tale music playing in the background, because these are fairy tales, and unfortunately, they're fairy tales that atheists have been repeating for too long. And it's about time a hell of a lot of people who have been repeating this stuff went and did their homework and stopped repeating bullshit stories about history. It's not as though Christianity hasn't done a whole lot of really bad shit. So it's not as though there aren't real historical examples that if you want to bash up Christianity, you can bring up all kinds of stuff. The destruction of whole cultures, burning every book that ever existed from the entire Aztec civilization, that kind of stuff. That actually happened. So stick to the stuff that we can verify. Don't just repeat stories because they sound good, or because Richard Carrier tells you the truth.